All right, welcome to episode 2 of the Composers Roundtable. I have here with me Matthias and Reid and Simeon, and this time you can also read it because I put it up so it's easy for you to know who's who. Anyway, welcome guys. How are you doing today?
Very good.
Doing well, doing good.
All right.
A little rainy, but good.
Yeah, well, it's actually not raining here. It's pretty warm and slightly tired, but other than that, doing pretty well.
Here in Sweden, we're actually enjoying a really, well, summer's come eventually. It's been quite a cold spring, but now it's really nice. It's sort of in between spring and summer, but it's really lovely. So I've been outside a little bit. How's the weather over at your guys?
It's
It's
the
nice
kind
in
of.
Brooklyn.
Sorry.
It's nice in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
It was cold before, but it's getting nice this week.
Yeah,
Right.
see, a little cool, rainy 70s, but all good. It's all good.
For me, it's the kind of clammy weather, you know. It's a sticky, warm weather. So
Oh yeah,
not really enjoying it too much, but it's fine.
All right.
yeah, that's coming soon. So
Mm.
in the summer. So, all right.
So what have you guys been up to this week? Anything in composing world or just general life or anything you've noticed?
Well, I'm still working through this violin instrumental thing and trying to find a violin sound that the violinist is pleased with. It was like the last things that I was using. It was like, I can't stand that sound. It was like, oh my gosh. So it's like very challenging for a keyboard player to impress a concert, you know, like a really, really top of the line violinist. So that's been challenging, but fun and a neat learning experience. And I'm just coming off of my Elvis gospel gig, which was the first live gig that I was able to play in a year and a half. So to actually get out there and play with live musicians and a horn section and a gospel quartet, and it was just like it was a lot of fun. So that gives me a lot of hope that we're going to start seeing things pick back up. Especially for musicians and for performing and that type of thing. I'm very hopeful that things are on an upward track. So I feel good about that.
Oh, sounds good, Simeon. Anything you've been up to this week, or these 2 weeks? I mean, Reid.
I finished a video on the UVI Meteor, which is a sound effects software. And it's kind of a silly video, but I'm really happy about finishing that one because my next video is going to be on world music, which is something, you know, is really dear to my heart. And so, yeah, I mean, those are the two things. And also the Native Instruments sale just got announced, and so I'm dealing with that.
Oh yeah, we should definitely delve into that a little bit later. Awesome. Okay, cool. Anything you've been up to this last 2 weeks, Matthias?
Yes, actually. Not the things I was planning on doing, but the things I wasn't planning on doing. So one thing I did is I looked into actually, what should go into recording a real orchestra. So I tried to contact a few people, look around, because I want to get some of my own stuff recorded. So that's pretty exciting. I also actually looked around, like, what would it take to get a local group of musicians together? But just the cost efficiency is so much worse if you try to do that, at least where I live. So I don't know how it might be in other places, but I would like to do that because it's, you know, I always would like to stimulate the local musicians if that's possible. But in this instance, it's just not really all that economical for me. So it's going to be Eastern Europe, as most people tend to do when they're slightly on a budget.
Yes. Yeah, myself, excellent. Actually, that reminds me of something. But myself, I've been just, writing music as I do. Have a few projects right now. And I've been finishing the whole Opus thing, as we talked about last week. And I just want to add quickly, the orchestrator is amazing, but it's buggy. Oh, God. It's crashing constantly. So I really hope they fix that, because if they do, it's really something that I think is very worth your time. But you know what? I just thought about that when you said, putting a band together, Matthias, and hiring instruments. It's really interesting because I used to play a lot more in the past. I love big band music. I really love big band music, and I always wanted to be part of that. And I tried to play the trumpet. I wasn't really good enough for that, and so it didn't really work. But that's something I always thought about. Real music and putting a band together. I have friends who are really good jazz players, and they're always struggling with that. They really want to play, but they're gonna find a place. They're gonna afford to play. It's such a unfortunately huge problem, and it's one of the reasons why I have gone over to DAWs, you could say, because it's not the same, but at least I have an orchestra I can play with. In my own little world, and yeah, I wonder about you guys. Is that something that has driven you into the DAW world as well, or do you have other reasons?
Well, I think I always started there because and then just wanting to get the things in your head out into some tangible form. So just not able to really connect with a lot of musicians that had the computers or recording studios to be able to do that. But Sam, before we continue, can you welcome our visitors? I think we've got some people on the chat.
We do. That's amazing.
Yeah. So we can just maybe just real quickly go ahead and reintroduce ourselves and just maybe do a quick welcome to everybody and kind of tell them real quickly what this is all about. It's
Absolutely.
like four guys rapping, and but we want to get you guys involved.
No, but that's great, Simeon. You. Why don't you start? Because I don't see it right now, but it also means that I'm a little bit new to this whole thing, to be honest with you. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm Simeon Amburgey with PraiseTracks.com, and we all have our own YouTube channels, and we love to. It's just wonderful to be able to come together with a bunch of other guys and just talk about what we love to do, and that's to create music and to share our experiences with you. And to allow you to ask questions and to give us feedback on what you would like us to do. So it's a great way to just share and to network, because we are all family as far as musicians and arrangers and creators. And to have this opportunity to be together with Reid and Matthias and Sam is just such a great honor. So I hope you enjoy what you're seeing, and we're just gonna have some fun sharing together.
Oh, that was great, Simeon. How do we follow on that?
What Simeon said.
Yeah. Oh, that's it? Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I can introduce myself.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm Matthias. I have a channel called Project Anvil, which is basically centered around creating a template with the Cinematic Studio series instruments, trying to recreate the sort of 90s studio sound. That's my main project. To be honest, I haven't really worked on it in the past few weeks. I need to get back on it, so I'm a little guilty here. But yeah, that's my main thing, and also I really like to discuss all the various topics we're gonna bring up here, and chatting with these guys and with you as well. So,
I mean, my name is Reid Rosefelt. I have a YouTube channel which is called Tiger the Frog. Which is hard to explain, but it's a movie I once did that starred a singing frog, and I wrote all these songs that a jazz singer sung for this singing frog, which of course nobody who's looking at my YouTube channel has any idea what that's about. But I talk about various topics, and I'm more of a singer-songwriter, I would say, than an orchestral composer like everybody else. But I definitely have a big interest in DAWs and in virtual instruments, and that's been going on for decades.
Now, Reid, when you say singing frog, I instantly think of "Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime gal, send me a kiss by wire, baby, my heart's on fire." Yeah, it's just like
it definitely
brings back some really good memories.
It definitely was inspired by One Froggy Evening, the Chuck Jones cartoon, but that you're captured so well. But what it was I had worked on a film which was called Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and it destroyed my business. And so I was kind of interested in telling a story in this film about how somebody could have this really great success and then it would ruin their life. And so I thought, okay, let me make a film about that. And then I happened to have a plastic frog that sang, and it was basically annoyed my girlfriend at the time. And he would just, it actually was a thing that would set on automatic. So somebody walk into the room and this frog would start singing. So I kind of put those two elements with a little bit of One Froggy Evening, and that's what became my film, which was called Tiger, His Fall and Rise. It actually starred the late Adrian Shelley, who, who would later direct Waitress, and a really good actor named Thomas J. Ryan.
Is there a way we can see that?
Oh, please, no.
Wow, I'm learning a lot of cool things about you, Reid. I'm definitely going to check out more of your videos.
There are some clips that are up there, and I can send you some links. There are a few, but it's just, I want to be kind to people, and I don't want to inflict that movie on anyone.
I know there's something to, I don't know what you think about the movie, but if it is a bad movie, that can be really enjoyable, actually, if you watch it with the right attitude. So.
Yeah, but what I tried to do was to create a comedy that wasn't funny. And that was like my artistic goal with it. And I really achieved that. So we'll see. We'll see. There are some scenes that the thing that's actually fits in with this particular podcast is the one thing people really loved about the movie was the songs. People loved the songs. And I got this great jazz singer named Thawes Shipley to sing The Frog. And we went into the studio. I'm taking too much time, but we went into the studio in Chelsea in Manhattan, and there was a guy who ran it who had played with Elvis. I mean, it was just very cool place. And when I went there to record narration, he gave me this information on Thawes, and Thawes ended up being a tiger.
Wow.
That's nice. I like to hear these details. But anyway, my name is Sam. I run a YouTube channel that's called SecondTierSound. Yeah, it's also a strange name that maybe I will explain one day. But I sort of... Oh, sorry? Yeah, no.
It's a little bit of mystery there.
Exactly. We won't say anything. It will be more interesting that way. I sort of instigated this podcast, but obviously I couldn't do it without these guys. So this is really a team effort, which I'm very happy to share. So yes, it's funny. I'm learning about live. This is my first live podcast. So I'm looking here at what's going on, and I see we have some viewers. If you want to ask us something, you can put that in the chat here. If that interests you, maybe ask us something. Otherwise, if you guys are okay, we'll continue with what we thought we'd work on today. And the first topic is, what I was talking a little bit about. It's lovely to have, I talk a little bit the way I see it. It's lovely to have this whole orchestra in front of you. I can make, I can try all the instruments. I can sort of move them around and really play with things like I have, I don't know how many people are in the orchestra now, but a big orchestra in front of you, and you can just do anything with that. In real life, it's very expensive, or you have to be a real hotshot to have that opportunity. So I love that technology, but what is good about it, and what is not so good about it? What do you find, or what do you like about it, and what don't you like about it? Let's start there.
I've been talking too much. So Matthias, why don't you go?
Okay, I'll have to think on the spot a little bit. Well, one of the things, of course, I like about it is that...
Reid disappeared?
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he did. And I got my green screen here. Oh, nice. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, everything is falling apart.
Everything is falling apart, but he will come back.
This is cardboard, by the way.
When he comes back, it will all work again. So continue, Matthias.
One of the things I really like about it, of course, is that, as you said, you can have an entire orchestra. They don't get tired. They don't need food or drink or breaks or anything. So that's really nice. Obviously, the frustrating part is you can never get it quite to sound like the real thing. And actually, that can become a trap in of itself, trying to make it sound like the real thing. And then if you go into a recording, you try to make the recording sound like the thing you had on the computer, which tends to not really work. So that's a trap, I think, of the technology. But yeah, well, one of the, I think, points about how it could be disadvantageous is that you have so much choice right now. It's almost too much. And this is not an original thought I had. This is I'm sort of parroting Mike Verda here as a video on that subject, actually. But one of the examples he came up with is that with film editing, for example, when you had to make a film cut, let's say 20, 30 years ago, you had to physically cut the film, and you have to be really serious about the decision you're making. But that also liberates you because it's difficult to go back. So there's a lot more craft that goes into it, into knowing where you have to make the cut. And it's probably the same with music. Because of the ability to go back infinitely and retry things and reorganize things, that gives you more creativity or more creative room. But it also is a very dangerous trap to fall into, because you can just keep going endlessly and take 4 weeks to do 1 minute of music, and at the end it doesn't sound like anything. So yeah, there's really those two sides of it that I see.
Yes, yeah, it's a double-edged sword. It's having too many choices with it can trigger ADD for me. just seeing so many choices, and like what you said, you can just keep going and going. I find that a lot of times when I'm doing recording, especially with vocalists, and it probably could be the same when you're playing a line in, usually the first or second time that you go through a line, that's going to be it, pretty much. Because if you're obsessing over doing the same line over and over again, you'll be an hour or two doing the same thing, and then you go back to the very first couple of times you do it, and you say, those had a little bit more something to them than it's called that law of diminishing returns. So you just start falling down that slope a lot of times, and then that also just causes you to get so close into it that your perception just starts narrowing, and then you just lose all sense of direction, and it just all starts sounding the same. So I think it's a great benefit to have that technology, but it's also a great, with much power comes great responsibility. And I find, like what you said, Matthias, that the challenge to getting the realism, the more realistic the sample library, it seems like it actually makes it harder to get a more realistic sound in a lot of ways, because the bar is just set so high. So it's just learning how to translate those things so it just doesn't come off sounding, crazy or fake or whatever. So it's great to have the technology, but sometimes having too much of it, it's just like we've got to learn how to manage that so it just doesn't take over that process.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was just trying to save the interface a little bit, so I was listening on one ear while trying to fix so we can see you guys, but now you can see everybody.
Multitasking, yeah.
Yeah. It's too bad that Reid is missing. He did tell us before that there were some problems with internet, so we'll hope he comes back. And when he does, we have to rearrange everything again, but at least you can hear us. So, my riffing on this is that I still love that feeling of having everything in front of me. But something I've been working a lot with lately, and I'm actually spending too much time on it, is that whole thing of I want to have it set up so I don't have to work on anything. I don't want to worry about anything. I just want to jump in, be able to play, right? Because if you don't have all those templates set up, or templates is a good start, then you sort of tend to look for what instrument I'm going to use and where is it mic'd, and does it sound good with that, or does it have the right reverb on, and is it compressed the right way, and it goes on and on and on, and you get so caught on that you can spend days on setting that up. So I just really bit the bullet and I created these massive templates that was so frustrating. I was like when I was done. I hated it so much, but I love it now because I just press a button and there's my orchestra. and I can sort of just
Yeah, I tend to
play.
be that guy that like starts with a blank canvas and starts plugging things in, and I'm trying to find some ways like what you said to to mitigate that some. I don't know why. I don't know why I tend to do that, but because I wind up going to like the same libraries for the same
Yeah.
same things, pretty much.
Well,
But then
But
it's
that's
good.
something
Yeah.
to look for.
Sorry,
the fun,
Matthias.
yeah, the funny thing is that I'm sort of flip-flopping between the two all the time. So sometimes it's a blank project, sometimes I try to make a template. Then I get tired of the template and I do a blank project again, and then I have half a template, and then it's just a rabbit hole that never ends, really, in my experience at least.
Here's my logic a little bit to it. An orchestra, most of the time for me, is a set piece. I mean, obviously you can suddenly have a saxophone or you have more of something, but in general, the orchestra has these sections, and in general, they are the same. So for me, that's quite easy to have a template for. But I absolutely agree with you. If I'm making another work, for example, normal pop music or a specific project for dance or whatever, yes, I start from scratch too. But then I use libraries that don't take hours to load. Before it changed to Opus, and before I realized that in Play you have to make sure that your antivirus does not scan the libraries. It literally took, I think, 15 to 20 minutes. Can you imagine, to load up templates with that program? And it's like, yeah, you have to go and take a coffee or something. And yeah, it used pretty
Now,
much.
can you
Yep.
exclude those folders and like in your antivirus, you should be able to exclude certain things so
Yep.
it just kind of bypasses those.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've always done that now since then. So I don't know if it affects Opus as well, but it absolutely affected the Play engine. And I think actually it affects everything. A lot of libraries in Play are the same thing. So I think all antivirus, you can exclude wherever you want. You can exclude a whole hard drive or partition. And so I put all my sample libraries in one folder, or sort of in one part of my system, and my antivirus does not touch that. And it really speeds up a lot of stuff. Kontakt as well. So it's worth it. Because otherwise it's checking all the time. What is that? In sample libraries, there's so many files being loaded, and the antivirus want to check all those. So
Well, unless you start with a blank project, of course, and then you don't have anything to worry about.
No, but you're right. But let's say I just realized that 8Dio has had these problems. Oh, I see here, Reid is listening. I'm having issues connection. I'm really sorry about that, Reid. Well, you can always chat with us here, and we can say what you say. But yeah, for example, 8Dio, their libraries, I don't know why, but why does it take so long to load this simple string patch that they have? And then I just did that thing, and it really worked much faster. And even though it's a blank template, you don't want it to take time to open up an instrument and try it. You see what I mean? So you want to do that no matter what, template or not.
I think there's maybe sort of a middle road here. Something that I've been trying for a while, and which actually helped me quite a lot, is to have a basic template, or at least have all the foundational instruments. But I don't have like 3 types of violins loaded from all different libraries. I just have the one. But then I also have the piano patch, and I just work out everything on piano first, and I don't orchestrate at all. That's been really hard for me, because that's always the most fun part to me, at least, the orchestration. But by just working things out on piano first and then going to the sounds, that actually I felt freed me up a lot, and actually made me more capable of making longer pieces, because I tended to get stuck around 1 minute or so.
Oh, you're absolutely right. That is a great advice, to work with piano first and then try to move it over. Because you have to be really disciplined to not get stuck in the sound. So I always start with piano too. But I've noticed, and you guys might be smarter than me, you probably are, but what I'm saying is that sometimes playing with an instrument, you realize that you can't voice it the same way as a piano. We piano players, we like to do our chords in a specific way. And if you play guitar or just strings or flutes or whatever, brass, you cannot voice it like a piano. So you have to also be able to play with the patches in order to there he is. Oh, you keep talking while I'll figure out the interface here again.
Right.
But there we got Reid back.
Okay.
I don't know if So Reid, I don't know if you heard, we were talking a little bit about the pros and cons about working with DAWs and digital. And while
Except
I'm fixing
for now,
you
I'm
all,
Sam.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna fix all that. So you guys continue a little bit while I'll see if I can figure out this interface here.
So while we've got Reid back, we're talking about like the summer. It's the summer sales season, and 8DO they just threw out the gauntlet with their 50% off coupon for mailing list guys. And then here comes Native Instruments with their summer sale, and now Heavyocity's got their summer sale, and so it's just like, So Reid, tell us some about what you're dealing with your Native Instruments deal.
Well, I've just been waiting for this sale, because I knew I was going to upgrade to the Creative Collection for the first time, or Creative Edition, and so I've just been waiting. And generally, when I get Native Instrument stuff and when I get Komplete, I just go cold turkey and I don't buy anything until the new one comes out. But this time, I just couldn't resist. A lot of these instruments, like Noir, like the picked acoustic, I just had to get them. So now I'm going to have to put a lot of things on sale, but I just can't wait to play some of these instruments and load it all up. I've been preparing by cleaning out the hard drives, because it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have only a mild case of guess, because you're also jettisoning a lot of the old stuff while you're getting new stuff. You're not just hoarding.
Yeah. I mean, I feel, in terms of all these sales, I feel pretty immune to 8DO sales. I mean, because whatever they sell, like later on, it'll turn up for $8 or something, as long as it has an 8 on it. So I don't feel ever like, if there's an 8DO sale, that if I don't buy, I'll miss the chance for all time. And so it's easy when there are a lot of other things online to say, that company really has a generous kind of sale policy. And Heavyocity, I am lucky, but I really have a lot of stuff I have a lot of the stuff that I've always wanted from Heavyocity already. Do you feel like that with some of the companies that you bought, the things that you really wanted?
Sorry, the question again, Reid. Can you repeat it? Sorry.
Well, with some companies, do you feel like you bought all the libraries you really wanted from them?
Yes, with East West.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's actually not a slight against them, because I'm really quite a big fan of the whole Hollywood series. But that's all I'm interested in, basically, in between all their products. Maybe Storm Drum as well, because I did have to compose a cloud at some time, so I was able to try that out. But I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So despite all their 50% off all the time, I'm kind of done buying.
So Sam, we don't see you.
Yeah, OBS, I've noticed since the new update is not happy. So when it does a lot of these changes, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to come back, but you can hear me at least.
Did you see you update to 27?
You see me in Discord, but not here. Sorry, what were you saying, Simeon?
Did you just update OBS to version 27?
Yeah, I did. Well, it by itself.
See, it popped up, and I said, no, we gotta wait.
Because it runs well, but I noticed when it comes to the layout, it suddenly just goes bonkers on you. So I might not come back, and I feel like if I'm fiddling, at least I can see you guys, or you are seen.
Yes,
You're seen, so you can hear me now. I have a lot to say about all these sales. So it's interesting.
And one more. Real quick, VSL just put their pianos, all their keyboards, up to 40% off.
Really?
So yeah, and this is the thing, up to. So it's like I first thought, well, 40% off, but it's like some of them are, and some of them are maybe not completely 40%. But I mean, anytime that you can get a sale on the VSL libraries, that's a good thing. And out of all the pianos, I think out of the VSLs, my favorite has got to be the 280 VC, the Bosendorfer. I mean, for me, I find myself going to that more for sketching and things, just because. I mean, I don't know. Australia. He actually has a MIDI Steinway that's hooked up over the internet, and it's, I mean, you know, so you can do sessions pretty much on the Steinway. But he said that he mentioned that it was a 280 VC. I had never known that, and so that made it a lot more sense as to what that Austrian grand sounded like. That 280 VC has a quality about it where it's just so beefy, but then it's got the nice sparkly top end. So I have a thing where I say the V in the 280 VC is versatility. So and then to have that on sale, that would be, I mean, if you're looking for something like that, it's a good time to grab that.
Oh, really? Okay.
And
How would you compare them, Simeon? Those two Bosendorfers. How would you compare the two of them?
The Austrian Grand and the VSL Synchron. Okay. Well, really, you've got a $50 or $79 library, and then you've got like a $300 library. The thing is, with anytime you say Synchron pianos, you're going to say thousands of samples, so many velocity layers. So it's like it's not a slam against the Austrian Grand from UVI because it's so good to have it that accessible. But I think there's maybe just 8 or 9 velocity layers, and you just don't have that many mic perspectives. But it has a good sound. I think it's a great bargain for what they've offered it since they've unbundled it. But with the Synchron pianos, I mean, they give you so much control over the mic positions, and then the really almost microscopic control over each note. You can actually assign EQs to individual notes, just the velocity the velocity settings and everything. So I say that they are the ultra high definition pianos. So the Synchron 280 VC would be like a Blu-ray. The Austrian Grand would be more like a DVD. So it's in the resolution and the size of it. But I think they both have great uses. The thing that surprised me about the Austrian Grand, the UVI version, is when I bumped that velocity layer, the velocity scale up a little bit, it just opened up just a brightness about it that I really liked. So, but I would just say anything that VSL does, they do it with microscopic detail, and that's why those libraries are so expensive, because they just go into such extreme lengths. They've got a new pipe organ that they just released too. The same type of deal, the detail in how they sampled it. So I've just been taking a look at it yesterday. I've just started playing with it a little bit. But it's a fabulous sounding organ. Yeah, and Heaviosity is their piano is kind of like a Sin piano is a really cool Steinway that kind of has that sound design approach to it, and that's a really nice piano for Heaviosity. And it's kind of like their answer to Noir's CFX. The Steinway got that warmer sound, and then the CFX has got that Yamaha bite and top end on it. So a lot of good things to love. So much to love.
Yeah. Sounds good, actually. I just want to say I'm so sold on my piano. A very strange piano that I would never guess in my life that this would be the best piano I've ever had. It's a CFX by Garriton, because I'm sorry, Garriton, but they make nothing else that is good. So this is just amazing. It's enormous. So I'm so happy with it.
That's another piano that's in my top 5. I guess if I had everybody asked me, well, what's my favorite piano? Well, I've got a top 5 or top 10, and the Garriton definitely is in that list. Yeah. It's just got something about how they did that.
Yeah, it's hard to explain this. I call it the compressor effect, which is probably completely untrue, but this is what it feels to me. When I have so much detail, and I probably care more about this than most people do, I feel like when I hit the key that it's a sensation that is slightly compressed. It's not real. There's no dynamic layer in there. It's like you hit the key several times and you feel it start to sound plasticky. It's something that keyboards really suffer a lot from, and I hear that sensation instantly from most pianos. And the CFX was the first one when I did not hear that. I'm like, purchase instantly. So and you can tell there's a lot of dynamic layers to this one because it takes a while to load up. and I think
Yeah.
it's 250 gigabytes for a piano. So it's huge.
I'm actually curious which piano does Reid use?
Well, I use a lot of them. And I'm not necessarily a person who feels that the most round robins and the most velocity layers and everything are what make a piano great. I'm of the opinion that it's the actual piano they recorded and the skill of the person who recorded that can fall into it. Of course, I haven't been able to buy the Garriton yet, and that may change my mind about it. But
The other
there's
thing is
something.
the Garriton was at Abbey Road, so they recorded in Abbey Road Studio A, and that makes a big difference.
It does. It does really make a difference. Yeah. But anyway, Reid, what piano do you?
What do I use?
Well,
I'm trying to think of.
All of
I
them.
just have like a big set, and it depends on what I want. But I love the Malmsio, or if
Okay.
that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah,
The
it's-
Artista Malmsio, which is like a tiny instrument, but I just love the way it sounds. What do I turn to for piano? I feel on the spot here because I actually have a huge template that is all pianos.
Oh,
It is
really?
just because over time I just collected so many. They're always giving another one away, or there's free stuff on Piano Book and things like that. So I guess I'm a piano collector. I guess I use Keyscape a lot.
Oh, that's the best. That you forgot that one, Simeon. That's an amazing one. Keyscape.
Well, I haven't had a chance to play
Okay.
that, but does Keyscape have a Malmsjö in it?
Malmsjö,
I know
it's
it has
Swedish.
It just has one
Malmsjö-
piano.
Malmsjö. It's
Don't
the
worry.
C7.
It's just-
It's
I don't
What's
know,
it-
but
does
they
it
have
come
pretty
up
much
with-
everything there is. It's hard to speak. Sorry, it's my problem. Keyscape have pretty much every keyboard you can think of, but they probably have missed a few. So I don't know if they have that one. I don't know.
In terms of piano, though, in terms of a regular piano, Keyscape only has a Yamaha. But it has all these other kind of piano type instruments in a way similar that the piano suite in UVI does. They're very similar, but UVI's suite has all different kinds of pianos, and that's what makes them different. But otherwise, they're very similar. But I do like, one of the reasons I like the Keyscape piano is that they put a lot of different effects presets on it. And so you can get many, many different kinds of sounds out of it. I also like noir for the kind of music that I like to make. And there are others. I think it is true that I've never really been all that satisfied with a regular piano. All the pianos with Komplete never really satisfied me. There's like 4 or 5 regular pianos. So maybe someday when there's the right price, I may need to get something like the Garriton. Is there something else besides that you love as much as that? Is it just the VSL pianos?
Well, I don't know about the VSL,
Well,
I'm going to be quick so you can go to Simeon because he knows about VSL. I don't. As you'll say, if you're into Komplete, I do want to say the ones that are worth it because I agree with you. There are some pianos there I don't think it's so great. The Noir is good, but you need to tweak it because I think the initial sound, it's okay, but it doesn't really like wow or anything like that. Una Corda, or Una Corda, it's really fantastic, but it's also very specific piano. But that is just really, really, really good. And then I do want to say that what is it called now? That the Giant is really good. I didn't think of that first, but I wanted to play around with that thing. It's fantastic. It's just basically an enormous piano that I think exists somewhere. So they made a grand out of a upright piano, and that is really, really, really good. That one's one of the best pianos they have. So anyway, Simeon, shoot, Lisa.
SampleTech has a lot of the is it now Sam, is it Malmsjö?
It's very difficult to say because it's one of those weird sounds we have in Sweden, Malmsjö. So don't worry about it. Say whatever you like.
Malmsjö.
Yeah.
Malmsjö. Okay. Yeah. So SampleTech's got a lot of those. They've got a lot of those. They do a great job with those. And what I discovered is that that pair that developed those, the Nord pianos are SampleTech pianos. that are in most of the Nord keyboards. So they've got a great sound to them.
Nord is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't heard about my my favorite one.
Sorry.
Which is the simple Sam piano. I think it's simple Sam Steinway, because it's extremely affordable. There's a lot of different moods in there. I don't think it's that deeply sampled.
I'm sorry, Matthias. What did you say it was called? I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
The simple Sam Steinway, I think it's called.
Simple Sam Steinway.
Yeah.
I don't know about it. Tell me more.
I'm sure about the simple Sam part, but not the last part of that. Yeah, I really like it because they have a lot of different moods. So they have various jazz moods, 90s Williams mood, and it's based on recordings, from what I gathered, based on recordings, and they try to really get very close to the mastered sound of a certain album. One thing you have to watch out for is the limiting on it, because it's very aggressive. So there's like a soft patch, but if you hit slightly hard, it's already going to like crackle, and so yeah, you do have to tweak it as well. But yeah, it's really, really versatile and very affordable, and it's enough for me.
Well, that's great. How much is it, Matthias? How much is the piano?
I think it was $50.
All right.
But I'm not sure. It could be slightly more, but it's definitely under 100.
I forgot one of my very favorites, which is the Art Vista Grand.
I don't know about that one either.
Super Grand or something like that. It cost $100. It often goes on sale for $50. What's interesting about this piano is that it comes with a ton of presets, which he'll say, like, this one is Keith Jarrett and this one is all these different performers, and you can throw it in, and it's just really, really nice. I find it works in all kinds of pieces. I tend to come to that a lot. I don't know why I forgot it.
No worries. I also thought about two pianos that I really like the sound of and what they do. I don't use them because I don't like the dynamic layers. If you can bypass that, it really sounds really excellent, like one of the best sounds out there. And that we're talking about Easy Keys and XL. What is it called? I forgot it.
Excellent audio.
Excellent audio. They have really, really good. The sound quality of those recordings are top notch, and they have so many nice presets of different styles that really can aid you in your production. So, and also Easy Keys has a lot of MIDI files that can help you if you're not a piano player.
Okay, so are you talking about Easy Keys or Addictive?
Oh no, that's Tune. That's Tune
two
Track.
different.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Tune Track
Track
is Easy Keys, and then the other one is Addictive Keys, and by XLR. I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
They
yes,
are really, really, really good, both those. And they have a serious. So if you just want like directly from the box, fantastic high quality sound, then I really recommend them. Personally, I don't like the dynamic layers. I need more detail. It sounds like a big, I'm letting it down a lot. No, it's still really good. But I just want more because I'm crazy. I wanted to say one thing, a piano I haven't tried, but you guys might know it. I really am impressed with Cinematic Studio series, the strings and the brass and the winds. It's just really, everything is fantastic. So has anyone tried the piano? Because it's very cheap. Reid, yep.
It's actually the one instrument I don't have, which is kind of odd since my whole spiel is centered around those series of instruments. But so I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with the demo, but yeah, sure.
Again, it's a very simple instrument, but I like the way it sounds. And of course, it's in the same space. And Matthias, I can't believe you don't have this, because it's, it fits in so well with all the other instruments that they make. And I kind of picked it up because when I first bought Cinematic Studio strings, it was available for, I don't know, it was like $25. It was very, very little more to get it at that time. But I think you can all see that I don't think anybody has one piano. Yeah. I'm not the only one here who has a lot of them. It's just something that they come in all different kinds of flavors. And what I tend to do is when I'm writing a piece, I'll just try a bunch of them after I've written it to see which one fits in the best. And it's in them. Some will fit in the mix really great on one and not so well on the others.
Obviously. I do want to say a freebie that is definitely worth it is Spitfire's Lab Piano. It is a very specific sound, so you can only use it for certain things. But what it does really well. Obviously, the dynamic layers are not amazing, but it's for free. You can't get better than that, actually.
Is that the felt one, the felt piano?
Yeah, I think it's called that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
piano.
Labs in general is fantastic. Actually, I'm thinking about making a video creating music just out of those libraries. Seriously. Because
Have you explored Piano Book?
oh yeah, absolutely. I love that's where I found out about Dan Keen's violin spurs, whatever it's called, a fantastic violin library that is just so good. It sounds real because it's him playing. It's just so I love Piano Book. Yeah. Recommend that for
Maybe
everybody.
somebody should
Just-
explain what it is in case people don't know.
Yeah.
Sam.
Sure. Okay. Well, you let me know if I don't explain it well enough. I forgot what it's called, who started it, but it's
Christian
based. Sorry.
Hansen, right?
Yeah, Christian Hansen.
Hansen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you probably know more why he did that, but it's just a site with a bunch of free samples libraries that people are creating from all kinds of stuff. So just head out over right now and check it out. You can search for almost any instruments there: guitars, pianos, weird stuff, sound effects. And it's for the simple sample player and for Kontakt, or I think it's one more. I don't know. What
Decent,
it is.
decent sample.
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
and some of these libraries are fantastic. They really are amazing. It's just, wow, this is free because, and that's the way people get known as well. So I don't know if I said that very well, so you guys can fill in the blanks there, I feel.
It's one of those things that has just grown and grown and grown because there's so many instruments on it now. So it just keeps getting better in terms of what you can find there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really
Well,
like
Dan
that.
King, well, he also just introduced a brand new orchestra for free. And going back to something Matthias had said earlier about hiring an orchestra and how difficult it is to get a whole bunch of people together. So it was interesting that he was able to kind of get these people to go remotely to put this project together. And it's really interesting. He has a really nice video explaining that process, but the technology that we have available that can connect us like this, where you can have a virtual orchestra, record the parts all over the world, and then kind of assemble them together. That's just fascinating to me.
Didn't they do something called Winter Voices as well in Piano Book?
Yes, that was an extent. Yeah, that was like the inspiration to go behind after that too. So that was really cool.
I was thinking, guys, we're close to an hour, not yet, and I was wondering, would you guys like to talk a little bit about Komplete more, how to buy it, what it means, and upgrading? Because I can help you with that. If you guys are interested, we can talk about that, or we can continue more of the topic of disadvantages and advantages of AI and all that. What do you guys feel? Or something else?
It's a difficult choice because they're both interesting subjects.
Well, should we just quickly talk a little bit about Komplete then? I can say this: if you are upgrading from 12, for example, to 13, my recommendation is not to do that. Depends on what you need, obviously, but I don't think that the instruments that they included in this next up is worth it, but that's my opinion. I don't think that those sample libraries are good enough. They still have a lot of great synths in there that you won't really make a lot of difference. There's two new synthesizers that are quite interesting in the new package, yes. So you have to look at that if it's worth it for you. But otherwise, there's so many sounds and synths in the whole Komplete package that, you're going to have months to go through all these patches. I'm serious, just with the Komplete 12. I feel like what I'm really interested in is not in 13 yet. They will be in 14 or something. So my recommendation is actually to just buy those libraries that you're interested in. Unless if you have nothing, then yes, obviously get Complete. If you have Complete 5 or 6 or something, then it's fantastic to upgrade now. Yeah, it's the deal of the year. But the last thing I want to say about that, if you haven't done this before, buy first Complete Elements or something like that, because otherwise you won't get the upgrade cost. So get something like that, pay full price for that, and you get a few libraries, and then the upgrade cost will be way better. Or you can buy a keyboard or something, and then you also get the half off. Yes.
Well,
So Reid, what was your strategy again, and your
this-
complete strategy?
It's a terrible strategy. The strategy was I would buy stuff for 50% off with the idea that I could sell them later for 50% off for somebody when there's no sale on. So I would get stuff early. And another thing I would do is there would be, like when Noir came out, I had a $50 e-voucher.
Mm-hmm.
So Noir came out, it was $150. I bought it for $100 and I figured, all right, I'll probably be able to sell it for $75. I'll pay $25 and I'll have it today rather than when I upgrade to Complete Ultimate. I would say that the strategy is always not to buy it when it comes out, but to wait till the summer sale when the upgrades will be half price.
Mm-hmm.
And just if I could gently disagree, I think that Noir is worth getting. I think that for me personally, Picked Acoustic it's right up there with my favorite libraries that they've ever released. And but that's personal. I use it all the time. I play it all the time. So it's definitely one I really like. And I think Arcus is a very good thing, but you can only get it if you go all the way up to the collector's edition, which was kind of naughty of them. They really broke the rules with that by taking something that really belonged in regular Complete Ultimate and bumping it up a level.
Reid, you're absolutely right. I forgot about that. I have all those libraries because I actually bought them immediately because I love them so much, and I forgot they are not in 12. You're right. So that's my mistake. I was thinking about the ones I don't have. So you're right. Good that you said that. It's good you caught me there.
But I'm like looking ahead, and already I strongly suspect that there will be an Asian/Chinese discovery library that will come out this year, maybe soon, and that's because of the free Janssen that they gave out over Christmas time. So it just seems almost certain that that is going to happen, and I know I'll buy that. I know I won't wait 2 years to get that because that's right up my alley. So what is my strategy? My strategy is to be impatient and get stuff and hope I can sell.
Yeah.
Now they allow you to transfer licenses, Native Instruments?
Very, very, very easy. Very easy. You send an email and there's no fee for it, and they send you a code and you transfer it. It's just sometimes it can be done in a matter of minutes, but really you're just waiting for a return email from. Just one of the most painless transfer things that any company offers.
That's good to know, Reid. I actually never thought about that. I don't feel like selling anything, but you know what? I don't know why I thought you can do that, but that's excellent.
Yeah, I can't really speak on that topic of Complete because
don't
I don't have it, and it wasn't on my radar anyway. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I'm with Matthias. I'm just like I've never felt really compelled to get the Complete. I guess for some reason, the thing that I did was get the Kontakt engine, the full version. I guess upgrading from a free Kontakt player instrument and waiting until summer to get that full version. I'm not sure how that works now, but used to you could get a free Kontakt player instrument and upgrade to the full version of Kontakt, which definitely, if you're into this, you've got to have the full version of Kontakt sooner or later. It's just inevitable because so many developers are going to the non-player versions because of expense and that type of thing. And then plus there's so many free libraries that use the full player. So eventually, if you're into this, you're going to have to bite that bullet sooner or later, So summertime is always a good time to upgrade.
That's
if
great,
you're in that
Simeon.
boat.
That's great. You mentioned that. You're absolutely right. Kontakt is the gatekeeper still of this industry. If you don't have the full player, there's so much you can't buy. Pretty much all the libraries in 8D, or except a few, you can't touch unless you have the full player. So that's something to think about. I kind of bought the Komplete because there were quite a few libraries that I wanted there, and I sort of added all the costs together and realized no, it's gonna be way cheaper if I buy the Komplete package. So I don't use all of the libraries there. I don't use a lot of the synths, even though it's very good. I use mostly the samples. But it might be a little bit, are you a VSL camp, or are you more on the Kontakt Komplete camp maybe? I just feel like I do a lot of different kind of music, so it's really nice to have the Komplete also. But if you're doing mostly
now, one of the looking into the future a little bit with iZotope and Native Instruments, new connection. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes because, theoretically you might see versions of Ozone and iZotope effects in a Komplete maybe down the road. So that's going to be interesting to see how that's going to shake out. Or there might be an effects in collaboration with iZotope that they might have Native Instruments iZotope effects bundle or something. So that's going to be something to watch going down the road. And also the thought of subscriptions from Native Instruments, because they've gone through some changes corporately recently, and it has people thinking that maybe in the next few years or so they might be thinking about that subscription model as well. So that there's lots of things in flux. It seems like. So
you might be right, Simeon, but I have said that for a few years, though. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It could change, but it's not the first year they talk about subscription. But because it's only really the Composer Cloud has managed to do that well. But it's true. Native probably would be a company that could pull that off because of their situation. I just wanted to add, by the way, there's a lot of instrument, but something people forget is that the effects in the Komplete package is actually fantastic. The compressors and the reverb, they're really good. I mean, they're not just simple. They're incredibly good. The compressors.
Do you get Reactor? Do you get Reactor in Komplete?
Yes.
Yeah. You get everything.
Okay. Yeah. So that's another powerful. Yeah.
I think when you really start exploring Komplete and spending time, and I think you have to look at each thing that's in it. There's a lot of people say, they'll say, oh, Omnisphere is no good or Komplete is no good. And you wonder how much time they've spent really exploring everything. And I find it great because I do look at all these things. Yeah. And I would just like to say very briefly that I think if somebody's getting started in this kind of music, there are two first purchases that are obvious. And one of them would be to spend that $124.50 to get full Kontakt. And that's what it costs now. You can go to Embertone and get Arcane, which is a free library. And when you get that free library, you can get the normal $250 upgrade becomes $124.50 this month.
Nice.
So I think that's something everybody should really think about doing in terms of suddenly getting them. Not just that you can get 1,000 quite good quality things for free. It's also like opening up the store for some of the best stuff that is sold. And Kontakt has a lot of great instruments inside it. The orchestral stuff is really old versions of VSL. So, there's a lot of good things just that come with Kontakt. So, and the other thing would be Omnisphere, of course. That's just my opinion. Those would be good places to start.
I totally agree, Reid. I do just want to say though, and this is personal, that the orchestra stuff in Komplete, it's not but I'm a picky bastard, so it's okay, you're right. But I would say if you're really into orchestral music, you do better with the subscription for East West. I really think so, if you want to do orchestra stuff. then it beats Complete. But if you want an all-rounder, then Complete is better. I think so. You're right.
Oh, I mean, 100%. But if there's some kid who just wants to start, and that'll be, and it doesn't have any money and is looking, well, where am I going to spend my money, my first $100 or whatever, obviously, if you're going to get into orchestral music in any serious ways, there are a lot of great things to consider, and East West is one of the best ideas because of Composers Cloud.
Yeah. No, but that's great advice, Reid. You actually made me think about a few things, so that's really good. And I just want to say, I love Spectrasonics. Sorry, can you sponsor us? No, don't do that. But everything they do is amazing. I'm sorry, they just I don't know if you guys agree.
I looked at one of their older choirs quite a while ago. It's unfortunately very expensive still. Like it looks to me like they never discounted it, and you get it shipped on DVDs or maybe cassette tape or something.
Because they don't need to. They don't need to have sales.
Those demos were really, really tempting. I couldn't quite make the step to put down that much cash for like a very, very old library on DVDs, as I said. But there's a Spectrasonics choir. I think it's 4 different sets in total. And
a lot of the stuff that they sold for $1,000 on DVDs are in Omnisphere, and that's one of the reasons these extremely expensive sets are in Omnisphere, and people need to know where to look for them in some cases, but they're there.
And that's one problem. I love Omnisphere. I have the latest version of it. And the problem is that I get so annoyed sometimes looking for patches because this is one of the biggest libraries on the planet. And it's just, like I've been searching for the specific patch that I want, and I know it exists there because it does. It's so, everything there is so good. So you get down, okay, I found 20 sounds that I like now, and just trying to decide. It's just, it's a nightmare.
I think there's a tool to help with that.
Template, Sam. You got to make your favorite Omnisphere in a template.
Yeah, you have to. But that takes years to find all those sounds. You guys, if you don't use Omnisphere, you don't know. It's so big. It's so many sounds in there. Do you have Omnisphere, Matthias?
No, I don't. I don't actually. But I was thinking about one of the forums I visit is the soundboard, and I think someone on there, Guy Rowland, has made an application called OmniTech, and I think it helps him with organizing the Omnisphere patches. But I'm not sure that was what you were talking about, whether it's just like the amount of choice or the organization of the patches.
Well, the browser is pretty amazing in Omnisphere, but it still doesn't really help. But I would look into that if you help.
Look up OmniTag, and you should be able to find it. And I don't have it, so I'm not really sure what it is for, but it might be useful.
I wish I had a picture of it right now. You'd be like, oh my god,
My advice for people with Omnisphere is just go to some place like guitars and just spend a lot of time in that folder and try everything until you get a good feeling, and just do guitars for a while. I love the human voices section. So just certain places, and you just be stunned by the quality. Some of those guitars came from Hans Zimmer guitars and some of these collections that they sold for a fortune. And I think when I didn't have it, I just thought, oh, this is pretty new age. I mean, the whole picture and the title of it just didn't seem like it could be good. That was, that was the impression. I had no idea that what this is this huge collection of the highest quality sounds that people were selling to professionals for 10 years, for a long, long time. And then they put them all together into this instrument, which has tremendous, all the things you would want from a synth modulation possibilities.
Yeah, it's a powerful synth too. I mean, it's something you should have if you really want to do this. I think. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things to have, but it's worth considering having Omnisphere to save up to that, because you get so much. You get more than you think you do. It's not just synthesizer. It's as you said. It's pretty much everything in there.
All of it starting to hurt.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say my wallet is starting to hurt.
Yeah, God.
You're getting gas. You're getting some gas.
I was resistant up until now, but Omnisphere is.
But I've saved with these
Well-
things for a long time. I just want to say, you can see my... Oh, you can't. By the way, I have a picture behind me of my native instrument keyboard. I got that because one of the reasons is easier to work with the Komplete. It really is. And we don't have to talk about that now, but it really makes a difference. So anyway, Reid, you were saying something.
The thing, Omnisphere is also like Kontakt in that it opens the door to all the incredible developers who make libraries for Omnisphere. And I think because it, one of the, I think maybe it is the library that more of the sound designers make libraries for.
Mm-hmm.
And that does tell you something about it, that it inspires the greatest sound designers in the world. And so when you have it, then that means you can spend even more money. But the reason I recommend it to a young person is that after I got it, and I waited and waited to buy it, but after I got it, I discovered that there were all these things that I paid $20 for, $30 for, $40 for, all these little things that I bought, that there were better versions of them within Omnisphere. So in a sense, it could have saved me money if I had bought it for.
Can I ask a question? VSL, I'm shamed. I've done this for a while, but I have very little experience and awareness and knowledge about that. Simeon, could you tell me what's a good starter if you want to get into the VSL deal, thing, engine, whatever? How should you do that?
I think they have like their Epic Orchestra, and they have like some starters. They have like some really like the smart orchestra series. They've got that's in the sync player. I think that's a fun way to get into the VSL thing. And the Big Bang Orchestra. Big Bang Orchestra, they have the free the free Big Bang Orchestra that you can have just some just to kind of get your get your feet in the water, so to speak. But yeah, with that I would think so. That's just some quick ways to do that. And then it just then it just goes like that once you get in there. But yeah, I think the Big Bang Orchestra was a fun project that they did, and I find myself using that sometimes because you have that whole orchestra right there. I like ensembles a lot because the ensembles for me are quick to just lay down things, and then I can go back and stack maybe the single instruments on the top and that type of. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I agree, Omnisphere has got to be the gold standard as far as as far as what it is. It just represents just a legacy of Eric Persing's work over the past 30 years or more. And Trillion, I use Trillion probably on everything that I do. You can't. I mean, the basses are just like they're the best, I think. And then you have the bass legends, Abraham Laboriel. So it's like I'm playing the same bass that Abraham Laboriel played. And if you've ever seen Abraham Laboriel play, oh my gosh, just phenomenal. So it's just like having that musicianship, and then Eric Persing's passion for sound design. I mean, he's been doing this, a long time. So Omnisphere is definitely the gold standard for sure. Yeah, I totally agree. If Kontakt and Omnisphere are great ways to get started. Everything else kind of is just bonus.
Yeah.
I remember using sound fonts way back in the day, and to think about where we are now is just unbelievable. So it's just it's great.
Actually, I just want to. I think Trillion is absolutely the best bass library, hands down.
Oh yeah.
But I just want to say though, still, if you have Komplete, those basses are not bad. You have to learn how to use them because, in a way, they're very simple, but they're also a little bit complex. Another story, but they're actually not that bad. So Trillion kicks his ass. It does, but the basses are still good and Komplete. So worth to think about.
I was also, in answer to your previous question, Sam, is Vienna Ensemble Pro comes with, what's that orchestra called, Um, it's like
let me-
the 2.0 orchestra or something,
Yeah.
and it's pretty good. There's just it's a nice sampler of VSL, and shows you how great it is. It's not an orchestra, but it shows you a lot of things. And I often reach for instruments in there because there's things that aren't standard that they have. And I like that. Of course, when there's a sale on Vienna Ensemble Pro, and then you have that too. What do you think, Simeon? Do you think that's a good introduction?
I'm just well, and the thing about Ensemble Pro, it opens the door for networking your DAWs. It's a very interesting platform. I've not gotten into it very much, but a lot of people, like I've seen Junkie XL, and I know different ones have like multiple computers running Vienna Ensemble Pro. I think Junkie XL has a whole computer just dedicated to horns, and he's got that sitting over there, and a whole computer dedicated to strings, and he pulls up this Vienna template, and he's got it all right there, and they're all networked together. It's just Epic Orchestra is what they're talking about with that. Let's see if we can see that.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. It seems like the next step, when you start to have servers in your basement.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
That's what's included with it's their Epic Orchestra. That's what and that's they give you that basic.
Even if you run Vienna Ensemble Pro on one computer, I think my experience is it speeded things up.
Mm-hmm.
It helped with latency and that type of performance. I've heard that too.
It helped with you can immediately load up a huge thing that would take in terms of just loading something.
So it's just is it an engine or interface or what is it? I actually don't. I'm ashamed, but I don't know. I haven't used it. Is it a sampler?
It's a platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hosting platform. Where you can load VSTs, EQs. It's got its own set of EQs.
So would I load it? Would I load, for example, I have Cubase. Would I load that in Cubase and then load the instruments in that? No.
It runs separately. It wires into your DAW somehow. It creates like virtual audio outputs and MIDI inputs and outputs to kind of communicate with it.
So you could say it's like an interface, but digitally.
Well, you're hosting your VST instruments in it, and you're connecting your Cubase or your Reap or whatever to it. And the advantage is that if you have Vienna Ensemble Pro on a network computer, then you can load your samples on that computer and not stress your main computer.
Right.
So you're offloading the processing basically. But it also really works pretty well if you run it locally, which is what I have done for some time, but I've actually taken a step back from that. But what it really helps with is the saving times of Cubase, because templates can get really large. If you have them in Vienna Ensemble Pro, it's just an instant save, because the whole all the instruments are contained within the Ensemble Pro. You just have to load that up once and save that.
So I mean, if you were working with one template, Sam, and it was set up, then you could close it out, and you'd then be able to move and do another project. If you're doing a lot of different projects at the same time, you could instantly get a whole set of instruments out of Vienna Ensemble Pro, right? And you guys agree with that? I mean, it can really be good when you're doing many different things at the same time.
Yeah, I'm just like standing on the precipice looking at it, and just trying to figure out. But if you have another computer, like Matthias was saying, that's perfect to network that, to pull the power from. I've got this main computer, but then I've got an i5 that is pretty good. That served me well for a lot of years. And imagine being able to host some virtual instruments on that, and then it just
I actually run it locally just for the saving times. That was actually the sole reason I got it. It was off on a sale. I think it was maybe 150. So I've been looking at it for a while, but I just run it locally, and I know other people do that as well, just for the saving times. Because if you have a big template, especially with Hollywood Orchestra, it gets really, really large. Saving times can go into minutes.
Yep.
And just
There
having
is
that
w-
reduced to 1 second is great.
Oh, you got me
It's
intrigued.
great because
You got me
there
intrigued. I'm
is a
gonna check it out.
lot. It's a lot of work to set up.
Yeah.
I have to say, and there are issues with NKS, and I think you mentioned that you like using NKS, and you'll find there are some problems, and you should look into that before making that.
Well, I like NKS for Kontakt instruments. I want to say, I don't use them for other stuff. But you got me intrigued, guys. I'm not gonna do that right now, but eventually I realize you get more and more libraries, and it does take time. To have maybe find a cheap server or something or like that. That might not be a bad idea to stress the computer does. But it's a big purchase. But I like that idea. So cool, awesome. Again,
Another rabbit hole to go down.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So I was thinking. I know we said today we're not gonna do too long. So some of us are. Well, I'm too a little bit tired. I love to talk to you actually, and if you guys want to continue, we can do it. But I just wanted to check in with you because we have covered quite a lot of it. Not what we said we were gonna cover, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. There's no problem. I like them. We just go and talk about things. So, what do you guys say? Should we continue a bit, or we finished for today?
I just want to say, if you three guys want to move on, I'd be. I wouldn't mind at all. I'm quite tired, so
Yeah, Matthias is tired.
I'm gonna bow out at this point. But it's been great having a chat again, and it actually really energized me again. But yeah.
Well,
I think we've got enough to chew on until the next time.
Absolutely.
It gives us a lot to think about.
Yeah, I think it's good too. We've done almost 1.5 or close to it, and I just wanted to say, I really mean this. I'm not just saying nice things here. It's really nice to be with you guys. I'm learning a lot. So this is one of the benefits of doing this, and I hope you guys will listen or watch. You do too. So you all have great experience and ideas, and that's why we're doing this. So really thank you all guys again for participating. So
yeah, and one more thing.
Yeah,
we were the original ones. Spitfire came later.
Oh yeah,
that's right. That's right.
That's true. Yeah, I wanted to say that. Yeah, we saw that. That was kind of funny. I mean, they did that to market their stuff, and that's totally fine. But it was just a funny coincidence that it just happened to come right after
new originals. A new original is coming out Thursday, so I can't wait to see what that's going to be like.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what that is too.
And then maybe we'll talk about this. I still am looking at that ADO site. And it's like everybody's saying, well, what are you going to get? What are you going to get with your 50% off coupon? And it's like it's just like so much. It's like I do have their passionate piano though, and I need to look at that some more. But yeah. So it's a free for all, and again, man, just so honored to be a part of this roundtable and to be able to share with you guys. It is these interactions that are so valuable because we go to someone else's world. We go outside and we discover new things. I love what Reid said. Our 5-year mission is to explore strange new worlds. That's fantastic, and it's spot on because that's what I say a lot of times. Sampling libraries are destinations. They take you into different worlds, different places that you would never be able to experience outside of the libraries, and so it's just fantastic. And so much richness and wealth represented by you guys, and I'm just so glad to be a part of this.
Likewise.
All right. Well, with that, let's complete this podcast, episode 2. And if it all continues the way we want it to, we will be back in 2 weeks, telling you more about the wonderful world of composing in DAWs and songwriting and all kinds of stuff. So until then, take lots of care. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.